Good morning, everyone. My name is Charles Ijogo. I'm here to pitch today the umbrella vending concept. We're looking for £150,000. Essentially, our business serves quite a niche. We've developed the world's first and only umbrella vending machine, but it's a multimedia vending machine, in that it also has a screen on the front of it through which we display TV-type quality adverts. We've actually won a contract to place this machine across the London Underground. It's an exclusive contract. There's 12 years to run, with an option to renew as well at the end of the 12 years. And that's to place this unit across the entire network. There's 300+ stations. We think there are about 150 stations that are viable in terms of the passenger footfall figures, also the demographic for people that will want to buy the advertising. That will give us access to about 60 to 70% of the daily users on that network, which is in excess of 2.5 million people. So they have a chance to buy this product every day. We sell it for £2, which is a big selling point. It's a lot cheaper than your retailers currently sell. They sell for minimum £7. I think I've covered most of it. I think.
Charles is looking for £150,000 and is prepared to give away 20% of his company.
Can we have a look at the umbrella app? Terrific. OK. Where did you get the idea from?
Well, the idea came from myself and an old school friend. We were riding the Underground, got to Parsons Green, end of the line for us, and it was raining heavily. So the only thing we needed then really was an umbrella. So we didn't have one. We had to walk home in the rain. And we thought at that moment it would be nice if there was, an opportunity, maybe a uniform opportunity across a rail network to buy something like that. Just simple, disposable, you use it, it gets you home and you're happy. So that's really where the idea was born from.
What's your background?
My background, I worked in the city for a couple of years. I got made redundant from Merrill Lynch. I worked there for 2 years after leaving university.
So what was the first thing you did when you thought of the idea?
Long process. First thing was to find out if it had already been done. We found that it hadn't. Then we needed to get the machine developed and also approach London Underground to see if we could actually put, if it was something they would even consider. Otherwise, it would be a waste of time. It took from the first meeting to get to a contract stage, and then to getting it signed, over a year. But we've got a good contract. I mean, as I say.
So when you're on that, let's just deal with that contract. Tell us about what you've got signed.
Okay. There's 12 years left to run on the contract. Basically, there's also clauses in there, so we've got options to renew, should we wish to, at the end of the period. That allows us the exclusive rights, or it gives us the exclusive right, to vend umbrellas across the entire network.
Charles has a potentially lucrative contract to place his umbrella vending machines on the London Underground. But the Dragon senses business has even more to offer.
You've combined a basic concept of selling umbrellas. And then I suspect what has happened is you realized you had a billboard that you weren't taking advantage of. Which is the more profitable business?
It's basically split like this. The advertising on the screen is probably worth double the branding and the umbrella sales.
Aren't what you're really asserting is that you've snuck billboards into the Underground? So on some level, this business is actually how to get more media advertising inside the London Underground, which is a very... I'm complimenting you, I'm not criticizing you. Take it for what it is. But I think one has to be very careful to know what one's investing in.
Of course.
Because the risks associated with the media business are different than the risks associated with whether, for example, it will rain in Britain. I have huge confidence it will rain in Britain.
Doug Richard is impressed by Charles's vending machines, which will sell umbrellas and offer space for TV-style adverts on the London Underground. The other Dragons want to know more.
Have you got guaranteed prime sites for these?
Well, this is it. The machine isn't going to go anywhere near the platforms. It's going to be in the exits and the ticket halls. The prime sites are essentially, as you're leaving a station, to be in direct line of sight of the rain and the machine.
What sort of profit levels, when you build a business model when you're running at full tilt, what sort of profit expectations do you have?
In the whole business?
Yes.
We're running at something like, I think it's between 60 and 70% profit. It may be slightly less, but to be honest with you, we don't have any costs. Once the machine is there, it lasts for 5 years. We've got no costs other than depreciation on the machine, and there's obviously labour going to the machine. Because that's our store, that's our main cost.
I personally take the view you will not make a 60% net profit. Why? Because very, 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 very few businesses do. Chances are what simply has happened here is you have undercounted costs that you have not yet thought through. And I'd be happy even if you made 30%. In fact, I'd be thrilled if you made 30%. What percentage of the company are you offering for 150,000?
20%.
20%. Now that's an interesting number. You're valuing the company at 600.
Which personally I think is quite cheap.
I'm confident that that's what you believe.
It seems all 5 dragons are excited by Charles's umbrella vending machine, but his options are about to narrow.
I think it's a great business. I don't think it's a no-brainer. I can see some glitches along the way. No business is, there's no license to print money in this world, but it doesn't really fit into my portfolio. So I'm out.
Simon Woodruff is ruling himself out of the deal, but Duncan Bannatyne has more questions.
Look, I'm interested in making an investment, but I'm not happy with the valuation on the company. So, is the amount of equity available from the money negotiable?
It's negotiable, I'd say, to a degree, yes.
Okay. The rules here are that you have to get all of your investment, and you've asked for 150,000. So tell me what equity stake you would give for 150,000.
I think 20% is realistic.
I know you think it, but it values the company at 750,000, and that's a bit high. The company's not making any money.
Peter Jones is ready to pounce.
Charles, I'm going to make this interesting now. I'm going to offer you £75,000 for 22% of your company.
Okay.
You need to find out other money, but I'm committed to offering it, and I think that where I can add value in your business, especially with some of the advertising things that you were discussing, I think hopefully you're going to say yes.
But Duncan Bannatyne wants to be part of the deal too.
Charles, I'm also happy to offer you £75,000 for 22%. So that means you've got your money, £150,000. But we're looking for 44% of the equity of your company. And we believe we can improve your company and help you to take the company forward. We believe there's added value. I believe there's added value, and I believe there'll be added value from Peter too. So for £150,000, 44% of your company, we want to go with you now.
Peter Jones and Duncan Bannatyne have offered £75,000 each for 44% of the company in total. Charles arrived only wanting to sell 20%. The stakes have become too high for Rachel Elno.
Charles, I'm happy for you to continue the negotiation with the other two, so I'll step back from the deal.
So therefore there's only one offer on the table. That's 75,000 from Peter, 75,000 from me, 150,000. We get 44% of the new equity of the company.
Charles is hoping Doug Richard will make a bid to rival Peter Jones and Duncan Bannatyne's offer.
What I was going to say was, would you like to make an offer into the business?
Is that what you're going to say?
I was going to ask, to see if there was maybe some alternative.
I also absolutely do not agree with your 20% equity position. You have just said to 2 other people here that you feel that they are asking for too much, so make me an offer.
I think that 150,000 at best case scenario for yourselves as investors and worst case scenario for me is worth about 25%.
Not nearly close enough.
Charles needs to keep Doug interested, otherwise his only option is Peter Jones and Duncan Bannatyne's offer. They want 44% of Charles's company for £150,000.
£150,000 is not easy to raise. Make me an offer.
I'd say that the last offer, and I think in the interest of getting the business running, the last offer that I'd probably give.
Just before you think of that number, Charles, think really, really carefully. This is a finite time, potentially, in your life. Just take a couple more seconds just to think before you say the words last final offer.
What I was going to say was, can I get a tissue of some sort to cool down? I'm a bit hot.
I've asked you to make me an offer.
I've got a ceiling, there's a ceiling limit that I'll go to.
Do feel free to tell me what that is.
30%. That's the ceiling.
I've got to tell you, that's still too low even for me. I'm sorry. I'm out.
So Charles must try to do a deal with Peter Jones and Duncan Bannatyne, who are holding out for a very large chunk of his company.
So I'm left with one offer. I think you're asking for too much equity, so if there's flexibility on your side downwards, then yes. If it's sticking at 44%, then no.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Any regrets at the moment?
Not really. I think...
Will you be able to roll out your business plan? Will you be able to develop what you've got to do? Do you actually know the impact of, before you start to go through a rollout program? You've not done this before. You've not had a business before. You have limited experience in 2 to 3 fundamental areas. Do you want to walk away with the opportunity of perhaps closing down something that actually is very important?
I obviously don't want to walk away, but I think 44% is too big, taking into consideration the actual value that you'd both add. I think if you're willing to go 35%, then we'd have a deal.
No.
Duncan Bannatyne is refusing to budge. Charles must hope that Peter Jones is willing to compromise.
I think that, from my perspective, as I said at the start, I didn't want to negotiate on the point of, and I understand your position. What I am willing to do is meet you somewhere between the two. Even though I did say originally I will not compromise, and to be fair, you know, you've always kept it fairly open. I think if I meet you halfway, so if we were at a point where I changed my holding down to 20%, and if you had another offer for another dragon at 20%, I'd be prepared to do that.
Okay.
But that would depend then whether the other dragon will be willing to do that. You'd need to convince them.
Okay. So I'm left with 1 for 75 for 20. Any other interested dragons for the same?
Well, of course, you can give me 22% for 75%. For 75,000, you can still do that. So you're only giving away 42% now, not 44. My offer's still on the table. 75,000 for 22%.
You wouldn't be willing to do 20? So that's the final offer, and there's no...
My final offer is 75,000 for 22%.
For 22. If that's the final offer, then I'll accept the offer.
Well done.
I think I've been had.
Charles has got his investment, but emotions are running high. Duncan Bannatyne has managed to get 2% more of the company than Peter Jones for exactly the same price.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Peter Jones is not happy.
You know, some of us got it, some of us don't, you know?
I think we've got to be careful, Doug, because that's a bit sly, to be honest, what you just did.
It wasn't sly at all.
I'm surprised you
changed
didn't.
my
I'm
offer.
surprised you
Well, I
didn't
would have done,
agree to
but
that.
you've just put a guy on the bloody edge here, and you've done a deal. You've just completely been a sly little...
Oh, and we're going to work together in this company?
To be honest, I probably not want to work with you after what you just did, so...
I made an offer and I didn't change
I'm
it.
shocked. That's not good style, you know it. You don't do things like that.
Like what? Not change my bid?
You don't try and work a deal like that and then create it and then try and turn the deal around and then retract it and then stitch pretty much 2 people up that you're doing the deal with. Give him your 2% back.
I'll give it back. Charles, I've reflected on the deal that we just made. I think I should only take 20% of the sharehold instead of 22, and I'm quite confident you'll accept that.
Definitely.
Okay, well, once again, thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Well done, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic presentation. Well done.
Very good.
Cheers.
Charles, I look forward to seeing you as Entrepreneur of the Year. I think the opportunity's there.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
We're best. The product's good, but we're investing in you. We believe in you.
Thanks very much.
You're going to do well.